Hey guys, how's it going? I know I haven't made a video in a little while, but seeing as my other two retro decks on the channel are no longer legal, and I've been working on this retro deck a little bit, heading up to the Albuquerque prep season, which we're kind of getting into now, I figured I would show it off. So this is Song Mina 1. She's a pretty well-known character in retro, but I am doing something a little bit different with her in that I am playing her on the good symbol. Typically, she's done on the all or order symbol, but I'll kind of go into why. Basically, this deck, or her abilities are a once per turn 3 speed and stun 3 on a move, and if you block that move, it returns to hand, which is really nice because it allows you to do one poke per turn, avoiding things like stop and reversals and Keiko's, just any sort of block responses, anything like that. And then her other ability involves assets. Once per turn, you can add an asset from your discard to your staging area if your opponent has more committed foundations than ready. So her first enhance kind of fuels the form and so on. But yeah, on to why we're doing the good symbol here. Essentially, it is because of this card, Shadow of a Cowboy. If you don't know what this is, it's just enormous axe and a zero diff. And we are doing a couple things with that, namely Tasty Riff and Back Alley Haymaker to build it in, and then we're blowing it up to build the top of our deck when we use it to pass checks and building in more of them, and it allows us to string out really hard. I'll sort of go into the full attack lineup and everything in a second here. But the other part of this and why this actually works and you're not going that deep into progressive is her asset. This is basically a character ability, so I might as well just put this on the table now. Scarlet Thunder is a ridiculous card. This is her asset, and it has enhanced discard of momentum. If this attack deals damage, add another card from your card pool to your hand. If your attack deals damage, it doesn't work when your opponent hits you. And that ability is fine. We use that sometimes. But the really strong enhance in this deck is the Seong Mina enhance, which is remove this and add 2 cards from your card pool to your hand. So in simplest terms, if I have, I'm running 4 of this card to use it as much as possible. If I play a Tasty Riff, I give it 3 speed, I build in, whatever, it doesn't matter. It likely connects, because if it doesn't, I get to pick it up and play it again and build again. And then I can either form in a Scarlet Thunder, or I can have another Tasty Riff and play one. And essentially what I do at that point is I use Scarlet Thunder to pick this up. And now that I have 3 counters, my Tasty Riffs build in more Scarlet Thunders. And this creates this, sort of crazy loop thing where you're getting more applause counters, your opponent is getting taxed really heavily on blocks, they might not even have the zone or the ability to stop you from Tasty Riff looping. And by the time your 3rd Tasty Riff hits, you're picking up attacks as well. And it turns into this combo kill deck. So it's really cool. I've had a lot of fun playing it on the good symbol instead of just freezing my opponent's board. I'm going to go through the attack lineup and explain it and just go card by card now. So we kind of went over why Tasty Riff is in the deck. Essentially, it is our combo kill. It is everything we want to be doing, and we just deal with the fact that it's a 2-check. Kind of how some retro decks go. The 2s are so good that you just accept that you're gonna run them. Back Alley is our other combo piece. In addition to a couple flashy Shadow Kick. So this card, the relevant text on it is you can build the top of your discard if it's a foundation. So if you have this in your stage, you can sack it, add it in again, and it acts sort of like a Back Alley, but Back Alley is what we really want to be doing because this card helps us stun them out faster to use her form to build cards, and then it also sometimes digs for cards if we need. If you have momentum, you can probably loop these if they're connecting with a Scarlet Thunder and they're on rolling 6s, and then you commit your Shadow of a Cowboy to pass the check on a 5, sack it, build it back in, and you essentially go +1 on a foundation by doing that, in your stage, right? That's ready. So that allows you to continually send moves on 6s without worrying about it. So this is a really nice combo piece as well that works when you have momentum with Scarlet Thunder. This is the one that just requires almost nothing. But these are our cards that build in stuff. For the rest of the attacks, I have some funny ones. This card is very goofy. I doubt it's been in many retro decks, if ever. It is just annoying with her first form. It says if they don't block, draw 2, and the cost for that is milling the top 4 of your deck, so that gets you to your assets and zero diffs to build with these cards faster, which is very nice. Just kind of a nuisance to deal with. It probably should be a 3x. I was running a couple of these and I only had one in person, so I just put the fourth of this in. This card is fine. It's essentially just if you want to play one move, draw, build, pass, it's like a good option. A bit expensive to play otherwise, as it doesn't do a whole lot. But it is a funny one, and I enjoyed playing it. I feel like it did pull its weight in the deck. I should mention, I've played this in just a webcam. I won one game tied with Tam, essentially. I left him at 1. Kind of hard to play this on webcam. There's a lot of analysis paralysis and like nuance in the moments where I feel like it's much easier to play this in person. But then I lost to Mitch on his Mitchell deck round 3. I still feel like it did pretty well, but yeah, it did what I wanted it to do, so that's what I'm talking about now. Going to the rest of the attacks, we have this full cowling 5%. It's just another attack that's annoying with Seong Mina's once per turn. If they don't block it, their character gets tapped, so defensive decks will sort of feel forced to interact with this because you have the potential of doing more after playing it, and then it also loots your hand to draw 3, which is sort of less of a cost than 5-handers, but it puts a giant target on your back for things like Revoke, so you gotta be kind of careful with this card. It is okay. The last 6 cards we're running are just some very good simple attacks. These are reversals. Seong Mina is incredible with reversals because you get to stun 3 on their turn, and things like Bamboo is just like a very good defensive tool. As you'll see, we're doing some weapon synergy stuff with Shishio because we need sack outlets to like destroy our Shadow of a Cowboy to build in a ready foundation. But both of these cards are pretty good. Sometimes, particularly Shirai Ryukon feels bad because it's not the best reversal to use on its own. It's good if you block with an attack, but you're a 5-hander, you're probably not blocking with an attack, or you would have thrown it the last turn. It's just kind of the option I went with. There might be something else that's better. Bamboo is a really good defensive tool, though. This card is a card pool response of building a card down and building another card, not itself, from your card pool face down, and spending a momentum to remove an attack, and that is repeatable. So if this is further along in your card pool, you can essentially Genkai's Guidance in standard terms, like multiple attacks, and that's like very strong, and it's building your stage at the same time. The card is ridiculous. So that's kind of the attack lineup and what I was doing. The assets, missing a few things here. I'll take note of what I officially would want to run. I talked about Scarlet Thunder and why it's so good in this deck, so I'm not really going to go further into it. You just have to run 4 when you're doing the Tasty Riff Loop stuff. In a more normal Seong Mina deck that might not be trying to use pick up 8 cards in a turn, you might run a few less. But for this deck, you definitely wanted every copy of it. Shishio was one of our sack outlets for Shadow of a Cowboy so that we can build in ready after we commit our shadows to pass checks. This card is very good. It probably should be at a 2x, not a 3. I just was short some assets, so I made do. This card is very funny in this deck. I enjoy it a lot. White House essentially just says when a card is added to your staging area during the combat phase, respond, tap it to draw. So that works with her form. It works with Shadow of a Cowboy building in. It works with all your back alley, Tasty Riff, and so on. It's really nice. And then it also has a static. This is what people primarily play the card for, of checks to play action cards get -4. We're not running any blue ones. We could, but this is really nice against things like the Power of the Abyss, any of these more expensive actions. Ancestral Quiver is just not really playable if this is in play. They have to open it on an 8, which is incredibly difficult. So I feel like this was pretty good. Very solid terrain choice. Notably, this is $10 to $11, so if you're trying to make this deck, it might be something you look at replacing, depending on how much it matters. The last 2 assets are Team Doctor and Magickin. This is response commit learning the standards, to put it in recent card terms, so it's just fine. Could be some other things, and Team Doctor is just a cancel you can build in to protect your Tasty Riff Loop as you're doing it, which is very nice. I definitely need a UA High for this deck. I just couldn't find one on short notice, because UA High you can form in Seong Mina, play an attack, UA High, pick up Tasty Riff, and do a Tasty Riff combo from there, which is very good. And I think the other card I wanted was Judgment Day, and the reason Judgment Day is really nice is because it allows you to pick up face down cards from your stage. because of Shadow of a Cowboy, you're sacking and building in a lot of random stuff at the top of your deck, and Judgment Day allows you to pick up a foundation, which is probably an attack card at the point that you're using it. So both of those should definitely be in here, and I just don't have copies of them on hand at the moment. So I'll just quickly go through the foundations. The zeros, I'm running 12 because I have 4 2-checks, and zeros are just very nice on the good symbol. I could be running It Can't Be Fixed. That card is also fantastic. I just really liked my stun them out minus their checks to play attacks, sort of back off me cards in Most Trusted Assassin. That felt very nice. And then Wishing Ward is also very nice because it is like Radiant Visage. It's flip, mill 3, spend their momentum, keeps them off whatever they're trying to do, and also fuels your graveyard for building in with different attacks or forming in a new asset or whatever you need, which is very nice. In terms of 1 diffs, I didn't have any like speed control or anything. I just kind of went with these draw cards. What's it called? Destined, Never Day Without Training, and then this Sack Outlet. You definitely want enough of these that you can destroy your Shadow of a Cowboys and continue to like loop in cards off the top of your deck. Notably, I'll probably talk about it when I flip the sideboard up, but I should have been running Marian Age, and I'll talk about why. And then 2 diffs, I kind of run some tech stuff. Wandering Pirate was fine. It probably could be anything else. It was not amazing. Having no block mod and a 4-check was not very good, but this card is sort of like Stun Hate. It allows you to keep stringing out and so on. Sense of Morals is great. Just safe to build, easy to play. Could be playing more of that one instead. We kind of have some card selection here in Daughter of the Bladed Rod and Passing the Torch. I unfortunately thought I'd like Daughter of the Bladed Rod more than I did. It was fine. I was not in love with it. The deadlock on it seems very good. I didn't get a chance to activate it. A lot of times I would look at the top, see an attack and 2 foundations, and my opponent would discard the attack. I would be unable to draw another orange card because of this, which was not a great feeling. So I think this will probably become something else. Then I've got, these are just kind of defensive tools. Bakery Poster Girl is a speed reset that's incredibly good. Overly Dramatic just cancels a bunch of nonsense, and then it also is a deadlock remove, pick up an attack. And Ominous Prophecy is just a very good card in this deck. It randomly blanks a lot of strategies that rely on any sort of keyword at all, but then also it allows you to get a momentum for like a Scarlet Thunder. You can put your Committed White House into your momentum with this card, and then use it to pick up something, which is very nice. So I definitely think this card earned its spot, and these are also quite good, so they probably stay in as well. So yeah, that's essentially the deck. My sideboard is very cobbled together, but I'll go through it. Marrying Age, I definitely should have made this card. I probably should have a couple on the main board over anything. They're just cards like Azure Nightmare and Dreaming of Becoming Whole that just repeatedly ready themselves, and you get so much value out of having just like a couple copies of this card. And it's also a 0 high block, so this card is really, really good. I had some instabilities in the sideboard. I don't know, I just never came up. Good just has so many good 0 diffs that it's tough to pick, but this card is very good and probably does deserve to be in there. A couple extra Sense of Morals. This was all cobbled together like a half hour before the event, so, you know. Evade and Copy. There's another one of these. I forget what it's called, but it's from Street Fighter or whatever. This card should definitely be in the sideboard, I think. This card is learning the standards, but you can use it if you half block something. So this card is very, very good. Maybe even worth the main board slot. We'll have to take a look. And then the last 2 was just a Confronting Jetta and Refusing to Let Go. This card doesn't get a lot of value in the offensive sense with her, because like it's only +3 damage once per turn. Like, it's okay. Like slightly above rate, but it's not what Confronting Jetta usually does in decks, right? Like, it's not like kill them. And then this was just a reset that I threw in because I had it and wanted to try, but I didn't end up sideboarding. You know, it's just a webcam Wednesday. These are just kind of thoughts. But I did come out of the Mitchell match wishing that I had been running this card. So I will say you definitely should be running this. And if you're trying this deck, make sure you get a UA high. It is important as well. So overall, I felt like the deck did what I wanted it to do. You definitely can get into some very sloggy game states where you have a lot of foundations, your opponent has a lot, so you're not really forming in assets because it takes, you know, a lot to stun them out. And that can be difficult. I don't know if we have an easy way of breaking that. You know, maybe it's some more deadlock is the answer or whatever. I mean, hey, Daughter of the Bladed Rod is supposed to be there for that, but it wasn't doing what I wanted at the time, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I might do some other retro profiles. I haven't built the other decks in person yet that I'm working on, but I've really been enjoying Satoshi one. I made a Kamui Woods list as well. That was pretty funny. I'll try and put in the effort and see what lists I actually want to do profiles on that I'm happy with. And I think that's probably it on the retro side. Standard, I don't know. I'll probably start with some more AOT 3 stuff after Albuquerque, honestly. It's been pretty busy here, but yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. I will have an AOT 3 unboxing at some point here. I've started a podcast with Mitch, Travis, and Ryan. And yeah, things are kind of picking up. So look forward to seeing you in the next video.